Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foulball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing phenomenally. I'm doing terrific. Out frickin' standing. Thanks for joining. This is the Culture Crime Fighters. We're here to fight culture crime and fight back against the people who would destroy our culture. We're just going to make jokes and have fun. One or the other. But joining me to do so is my co-host. You know him. You love him. The mighty
Vigilante Williamson here on the 32nd episode of the Culture Crime Fighters, and I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here. What tomfoolery we have, Cold Era? A lot.
Quite a bit.
Man, we are a hair, and this just popped in my head. We're a hair away from being straight, being homophobic, because the goal is to turn at least every character they can find LGBTQ in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
That is a heck of a way to start the show. I did not know where you were going with that for a second.
I didn't until it happened. It just popped in my head. But I really think, because everything is just, they're going so hard in this. I mean, listen, we're already in a world, if you don't like fat chicks, you're fat phobic. And as you can see,
only fat women though. That does not apply to fat men.
As a fat fuck, it doesn't apply to me. And a fatter fuck, because I've been on camera, haven't been on camera as much. I'm like, goodness gracious, I'm hanging out my mask. But hey, I appreciate everybody being here. Pat S. knows the mask.
Yeah. And on camera, by the way. Vigilante Williamson, yeah. And Keely Chow's just joining us. Keely Chow. Sentient Dildo. Hi, the Islington girl. Elvis is back. I like seeing Elvis there. And one rough girl.
Hell, Elvis.
Newest mod.
There you go.
And then Sentient Dildo said, Matt must have got some. Got some what? Why? Because I'm terrific? Is that why? Because I started off the show thrilled and excited and happy to be here. Always happy to be here. Always happy to see you, Sentient Dildo.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No jokes aside, not to get mushy. You know what, Sentient Dildo? You're the man. You really are. Like, you're always here to bother us and buzz us, but we know you love us. And you're awesome, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being supportive.
Yeah.
Appreciate
remember that night when he was really nice to everybody? It was really creepy.
It was
I
creepy.
didn't like it at all. Why won't you kiss the female pee-pee, Vig? Come on now.
Because if it has a pee-pee, it's not a female. Sorry.
Wow, that is some intolerant stuff, putting that on the internet. My gosh. My goodness gracious. Yeah, well, it turns out, speaking of what you were talking about, I guess there's a lot of different little stories. I don't know if there's anything really huge that's happened recently. But there's a lot of little stories, and one of them is that I guess the director of of Let There Be Carnage, and also, of Gollum fame, Andy Serkis, has said that the symbiote suits are gay or something.
So let me actually get the right quote, because I don't want to misquote. But
we can pull up the Bounding in the Comics article.
Of course, good old Bounding. And apparently, that's not the only other Tom Hardy character that's LGBTQ.
Yeah, his new identity. Yeah. Tom Hardy's going through a lot today.
Yeah.
A lot of different identities.
I see, I got it up. So, they called it they called it a love affair. And not only is he, and maybe it was misquoted because I checked the Uproxx article. Maybe he's comparing it to being LGBTQ, but he does say that they are in love. Eddie and Venom are in love. They have a love affair, and that's the center of the movie, is that central love affair.
Okay, so Serkis spoke with Uproxx to promote the upcoming film, where he discussed a scene in the film where Venom goes to a rave. The director explained it was originally going to be a Carnival of the Damned, and it ended up being Tom had got to know Lil Sims, who's a brilliant rapper and also stars in the movie. And she actually made a song, unbeknownst to her, called Venom that connected very much with the first movie. And so Tom got in touch with her, and that song became sort of the focus. Well, Tom and co-writer Kelly were always about Venom coming out and going to a party that was very sort of an LGBTQIA. Wow, that is a lot of
I wonder if
letters.
he said every letter in that interview. Did they add the
Honestly.
IA?
And did he like prepare for the interview? Like, okay, where does the T come? Okay, then the QIA, right?
Think we can
He's
get
got
to
like his
Q.
publicist is like quizzing him. He's got like
Yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
flashcards, you know, all the
I
right
think we
things
can
to
get to the
say.
Q, but that IA is too much.
What do those even mean?
I think intersex asexual question mark. Chat, correct me.
So it's just literally everybody but straight people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Let 'em- I mean,
it's just the way these people go about these things. It's like they're just creating new like discrimination.
well, everybody wants their discrimination clout, their oppression clout. So
Yeah, and then they can discriminate because they've been appropriately oppressed.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
fucking insane.
that's how it works.
Anyway, hail with gusto. Welcome.
Cinch and Dildo, is that a troll? Lil Sims is great, or is that like for real? Like, okay, Lil Sims, like I should be up on Lil Sims. Everyone knows who she is, and
If he says it, I believe
well,
he means it. I don't think. he
yeah,
would
because
say
you're
that.
pretty on point with your hip hop, with
Yeah.
music in general.
Like last week, he said, was it last week or 2 weeks ago when Norm Macdonald died? And then he said they took the wrong McDonald. He wishes it was Tom.
Oh, that was pretty rough.
That made me laugh again. I
It
thought
was
about
funny.
that
It was dark.
afterwards.
But yeah,
Yeah.
because it's dark. Because he just passed. Like, oh, but I mean, obviously, yeah.
But it's
not a
it's
Tom-
funny to like
Yeah.
imagine. I wish it was on someone else. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was the joke. I get the joke.
Hell no void. What up? What up? Yeah, no, I thought that was good. No, he says Lil Sims is great.
Okay, so Lil Sims is legitimately good. Says Cinch and
Okay.
Dildo. I'll take it. I'll take that.
Now, has everyone always been so Lil? Like, I feel like all the Lils have really ramped up in recent years. I feel like they're
I passed 20 years.
yeah.
It's I mean, because there were quite a few littles in the
There's
2000s.
like
and
Lil
Lils.
Kim, Lil Bow Wow.
Well, yeah, it's that late 90s, 2000s where it picked up.
But
And
now
then it
there's-
goes in waves because then the young.
Yeah.
So
you're
sometimes
right.
you go young and then little. A few people. That's why I'm just Vigilante Williamson. Not Lil Vigilante
Not,
Williamson.
if you were
Damn
Lil
sure ain't
Vigilante,
young.
I would not be. If you had like a protege, you know how Ryan Cannell is like Gary's internet son. If you had like, I could see a Lil Vigilante, like a protege, you know,
I would want them to have
some
their
like
own
base
Nightwing
like
persona.
22-year-old.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, yeah, don't just ape off me. Do your own thing. Fly, young man, fly.
Do you want to know something? This is interesting. I just googled Little Sims. It's little, by the way, not Lil. Little.
That's different. Spelling it out. That's actually original because most people go LIL
Yeah.
apostrophe and call it a day.
Well, she is actually from Islington, London.
How about that?
She's
She's a Islington girl
She's
in
an
and of
Islington
herself.
girl.
Awesome.
What do you know? Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, yeah, I guess she's good. I don't know. I don't know her from Eve. She's a British Nigerian rapper. She's 27. She's been active since 2010. So she's been going for a while since she was a kid. Well, I guess I'll have to give Little Sims. She's got a song called Introvert. Little Sims a look. I don't want to get flagged or whatever for playing the music, but
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. Anyway, back to this article. So they went to a very sort of an LGBTQIA kind of festival. Really, I'd call it. And so this was his coming out party, basically. This is Venom's coming out party, he added. This is clout.
Just chasing for clout. I kind of
Yeah.
think it's probably nothing, even though the next paragraph is a little funny, and maybe it's done as a joke, something like he's standing up for alien rights. I don't know about that.
All right, let's see. Uproxx writer Mike Ryan then pressed Circus asking, well, like actually coming out? Because that's very interesting. Circus responded, well, coming out, being out. Ryan then countered, well, you just compared it to LGBTQIA. Whew.
They both go all the way.
I hope they did. I hope they made a point of it. I hope they both prepared for the. What's the whole thing I'm supposed to say? I hope they really practiced it. That's very interesting. Circus then explained, well, what is interesting is that it's just like he is kind of, he says in the movie, we must stop this cruel treatment of aliens. He said, we all live on this ball of rock, so he inadvertently becomes a kind of, he's speaking for this guy's he's just bullshitting. He's literally just bullshitting right now. He's speaking for the freedom of the other. This is like he's writing a book. He had to like do a book report in high school, and he didn't read the book, so he's just making it up as he goes.
So yeah, first time I saw that, I said there is a chance this is just a like, hey, everyone has to be woke in every answer, and it's time to just give a really woke answer to Uproxx right quick. And it's completely made up and bullshit. It has nothing to do with anything. But you could just oh yeah, he's coming out. He's like a LGBTQIA, and I don't know.
I don't think he expected a follow-up question is what I think. I think he just wanted that to just be there, and then he followed him up like, wait a minute, are you saying Venom? Like he like Mike Ryan wanted like a real answer, and he's like, well, it's not that he's coming out. It's dude, like he just thought that was like one of those cute opportunities to like pander. Yeah. That was pandering.
Yeah, cute pandering gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what I
feel
think.
A little bit
I
better.
mean, they may have included an LGBTQIA rave scene.
That's tolerant. Oh no.
They may have actually included that, and that may be part of the story. I don't know, but I don't think that has anything to do with like the character. Like,
so on that note, no, because now I'm thinking like Venom, like how Venom works. He just kind of just jumps on to whoever he's hosting. You know what I mean? Usually the first time. Afterwards, they get they like being empowered by the symbiote. But usually the first time, if we're going to keep the love affair, sexuality thing, it's kind of rapey, isn't it? You're just taking it.
See, now I didn't watch. Yes, I would agree. Now I didn't watch the original Venom movie, like the other one that came out recently. Like, is he a hero?
Yeah, he's kind of a hero. He's like, I barely remember. I did see parts of it.
And is it?
It doesn't have Spider-Man in it.
I know that. I know it doesn't have Spider-Man in it. But is it like, okay, is he trying to? Are they trying to make him the hero? And is there anything in the comic books that ever like where that was a thing?
Yeah, he's been a hero at times. He's been a hero.
He has been a hero at times.
He's been a hero, anti-hero. He's always kind of like straddled the line, and then he's mainly. I mean, I know he's done a lot more recently because they've done a lot more with the symbiotes and that whole saga, where he's much more heroic fighting symbiotes. But I mean, even as early as like when Carnage and they started to introduce more symbiotes, he started to be more heroic. He started to fight against those other symbiotes.
Okay, so maybe it is like not quite as well. I guess there's a female. I guess he bonded on a female once. Did you ever see this?
There's a bunch of those.
Venom got some fat titties.
There you go.
Oh, look at this.
He's an anti-hero. That's probably the safest bet. He's more
She-Venom.
I think there is a She-Venom.
Yeah. Venom got some fat ass tits.
Venom's kind of fuckable.
I mean, look.
I fucked less fuckable than Venom. I shouldn't say that. I gotta stop.
Some big titties.
I gotta stop.
Cold Era says Venom went from bad to neutral good. Okay. Agent Venom was a hero. Venom. Okay.
Agent Venom, which is like a different character. I think. What did the government do something with the symbiote? They tried to experiment so they can control it better, and I think they gave it to Flash Thompson because every character needs to be a superhero. That's a whole nother issue with all.
I guess if he becomes popular though, then it could kind of be like in like a wrestling heel turn.
Yeah, like he's too popular to just stay a heel. He has to be a babyface now.
I could kind of see that a little bit, just because it's like it is such a beloved character. Like I remember as a kid, it was super kick ass, and then like Carnage was really badass too. Like I was always a fan of Venom. I thought it was fun. So, I guess at the end of this movie, apparently there's a tease that there's going to be a Spider-Man crossover.
Okay.
I
wonder if they're going to reference Venom at all in the new one that's coming out in a couple months.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily give a shit, but this is alleged. Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene leak heavily teases Spider-Man crossover. So there's an alleged leak.
There's some references to Spider-Man already. I think they reference him being I think they reference him being wanted because I believe it comes out after the last one. So I think there's references to Spider-Man existing in that universe. I'm talking about in the first one.
Yeah.
If I remember
I don't
correctly.
know that I care though. Honestly, I don't know that I give a shit. I mean, it's like I think you pointed out like is that Tom Hardy's not really Spider-Man. Like that
Or
he's like
oh, you
Spider
talking about
Boy.
Tom, not Hardy, Holland, because it's too many
Holland.
times.
Sorry, Tom
Yeah,
Holland.
Tom. Yeah. No, but yeah, he's too much of a boy, and that like he's not growing any taller. That's his height. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
like that's always gonna be there.
But
And
even like
granted, I
it's his
mean,
energy, like
Toby
that
wasn't tall,
gee
but it's
whiz
just
golly gosh thing is just kind of really run its course. I think it's like Spider Man. Like that was kind of the thing. It's sort of like that's what these superheroes are. Like you take this mild mannered kind of geeky guy, and then when he puts on the suit, he's super confident and cool. I mean, that was something.
yeah,
Spider Man was cool when he was like dressed up.
yeah. I mean, I remember the cartoon. There were parts where he'd get more pussy as Spider Man than Peter Parker, and that's
Hmm.
like,
Oh, absolutely, and that was like the dichotomy.
and so like I would really love a mid-20 Spider Man. They keep it's like Batman. They keep redoing the origin, and he's got to put him in high school. Got to put him in high school. He
Yeah.
wasn't even in high school that long in the comics before they kept doing it over and over again. I want to see Spider
Yeah.
Man as an adult trying to worrying about women is one of his issues. Like he has
Uh
to
huh.
deal with juggle girls. Maybe a girl doesn't like him. Maybe he's dating another one. Before because he didn't just marry Mary Jane. He fucked for obviously Gwen Stacy and then potentially depending on telling Felicia Hardy who's Black Cat and none of that stuff ever gets told because redo it and either Doc Ock or the same villains. Yeah, he's stuck in the eternal prepubescence, and honestly, so is Spider Man as a character. Because if they reboot him again, he'll be in high school. They'll never do
Yeah, like I
Spider
just
Man.
want to see Spider-Man kick some fucking ass, like, and be like badass about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I always felt like he was a pretty confident character. Like when he was Spider-Man.
yeah.
Like he
After
always
he's
had
established,
snappy. Yeah, and he had snappy one-liners and shit like that. He was
yeah,
badass, as I recall. Like, and that was like, but Peter Parker wasn't, and that's kind of like, it's sort of like the Superman Clark Kent thing. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
it's like it kind of allows them to be themselves, but I don't know. Anyway, I guess it's just like it's just kind of tedious. So thinking about all this stuff, I'm just like, oh, who fucking cares? Oh, there's going to be a crossover. Great. Well, gay Venom and gay Tom Holland, I guess, can you know what I mean? Start making out on screen. I don't know.
Don't give them any ideas. It's part of the
Uh,
plan.
well, I don't think in their lore, their Peter Parker's not gay because he's in love with Mary Jane, who's Zendaya, right?
MJ is not Mary Jane. I forgot what her name is. Something else,
Oh,
which
they
also
changed.
bothers me. Just
Why do they got to do stuff like this?
like you know what? I almost wish you would have just went through and just made her Mary Jane instead of just making a new character called MJ. Like he's just gonna date two girls named MJ. I mean, I knew a guy who dated like two girls with the same name, but like,
It's amazing how hard they'll bend over backwards to not adhere to the story.
yeah, just keep it simple.
I
In
don't know.
fact,
Like I was reading Preacher last night. Like I
yeah,
finished like the first like whatever the free kind of mini series that's on comicsology.
yeah,
It was excellent. And then I was like, and like him and Tulip's relationship is such a big part of it. And then then they race swapped the casting in the TV show. And it's like I didn't really have a connection to the comic book when I watched the show, but now that I know the comic book, such a travesty, such a mistake, such a poorly done like misrepresentation of what was like a great character. And it's it's like I don't know. I guess the more they do it, the more I'm just like, oh, you know what? Fuck it all.
that's kind of the issue. That's how I felt with a lot of this stuff, and a lot of stuff we're going to get into. I was just going to say, as far as keeping things straight to the source material, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it because we got other stuff to get into. But the whole fucking Spawn thing, Todd McFarlane literally says that other people who've tried to make this movie over the years have quote unquote made the mistake of retelling the comic book. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not a mistake. That's what you would like to do. That's the desired result. And this is the guy who created the comic book who just basically sold out on his franchise. Probably, I'm thinking similar to what we just saw. Somebody probably said, "Hey, you want your movie made? Well, bend the knee."
I will say though, it would be nice to not have an origin story. Oh,
True.
sorry, Pat asked that is an incredible point. Cassidy was spot on. The actor who played Cassidy was incredible. No, I mean, and it was, yeah, it just, I don't know. She felt so wrong. Like, she just wasn't the right, she's not the right character. I hated all her her little head snapping and stuff like that. And she's too aggressive. Like, Tulip was mad at Preacher, but she wasn't this hostile. Like, she loved him and kind of, I don't know. Anyway, like, I can talk about that another time. But it was just, like, it just didn't feel right. It was definitely wokeified. But to Mcfarlane's point about the origin story, I think there's something to that. I think like Gary's pointed that out. Like, he wants to just see like a Batman like that's just kicking ass and solving crimes, not the star, not the parent thing. And it's like let's just see Spawn as Spawn, and then go from there.
Well, that part I do agree with, but just the idea that you wouldn't want to stick with the source material. That's what I just said. I'm so sick of seeing Peter Parker as a kid all over, seeing Batman's parents die. We don't need to see those parents die
at all. No.
And what's crazy is I feel like because they've done that, they keep redoing the origin. They've like almost changed the origin. Now Batman, like at a certain point, not that he gets over it, but he's not thinking about his parents all the time. But now they've made it so even when he's longer in his career, he just looks at his parents and cries. It's like, what? Before you guys overdid it, it didn't matter that. I mean, it mattered. It was the origin, but it wasn't like.
I don't really remember it from when I was a kid. Like, I knew it was the story, but I don't remember it being like this motivating factor or something that you dwell on all the time. And like, I think part of it comes from the memes, because there's a lot of memes about his. True. Like, there was one like it was like a Riddler meme. Where, hold on, let me see if I can just pull it up because I don't want to misquote the joke. But it was like, I don't know, maybe that they're just emulating what they think the internet's seeing or what the internet's talking about or something like that. But yeah, it's just like, all right, I'm ready. Just kick some ass, and I don't know, like it just doesn't feel like they get it right very often.
No, so maybe that'll be a good thing for Spawn. I mean, I don't know. Or I would like to stop the originitis and the over branding of like I love the Joker. He's a great villain. He's not Batman's only villain. Please shine light on other villains he has. They don't even do shit with the Riddler. It's just Joker. I love Joker. Please, just Batman has other villains. Focus on them, please.
Yeah. Here's the other. Here's the Riddler meme. What travels down an alley and has holes in it? My parents? Oh, God, no. It's a bowling hole. I'm so sorry.
But that's what I mean. And it's like, no matter what, he could be 20, 30 years in Batman. He looks at his parents. Oh, my vows. Like, bro, you've been... Like, to me, one of the better parts, and I know a lot of people don't like the movie, of Batman Forever, is the implication that now, like, he's messed up from being Batman more than he is his parents. Like, the stuff that he sees as Batman is way worse than just that initial loss. And I thought that was an interesting angle to go with it, even if the movie wasn't perfect. But, like,
well, it would be like
origin, and
gravitas too. Like, everything needs to be so big and end of the world. It's like if there was just a like a Netflix style, how they did the Daredevil show.
Yeah.
If there was a Netflix Batman show, live action, and that, like, not to say it's like the Mandalorian where it's like single adventures every week, but if there was kind of like, you would just move through like a villainous story and then wrap it up and then move on to the next one. Like, I think that would work. Like, it does. These things are serialized. Like, they try to adapt them into these epic movies that, like, the whole earth shifts. But I don't know. Comic books they're not necessarily about that. It's not necessarily what's so entertaining about them. It's kind of like the shorter stories sometimes that are really compelling.
I agree. And no, Batman's not mentally stable, isn't the girl? But he's not like... That's kind of the balance. He balances out his instability with his work ethic and the fact that he's, like, so well trained and so well read and constantly working on different cases and shit like that. He's like a workaholic, so he doesn't think about how fucked up he really is. But yeah, I would love that series. I've been wanting that series for like decades. Just like, hey, do a Netflix style or HBO Max. You have that platform now. Do a show. They got this Gotham PD. They do everything but Batman. Just have Batman as a show, and he's already Batman, and you don't have to retell his origin. There's a Robin. Or if you want to make him already Nightwing, you can make him already Nightwing. That's cool. That's even better. And there's a established world, and you just start off telling stories, and like you said, do kind of not quite villain of the week, but you do, one villain with a story, and have maybe an arc that builds over like a sub story or sub stories
or just
that
not
build
so
into something.
goddamn like end of the world stakes all
Yeah.
the time. Like what's the like the Killing Joke is like one of the most like beloved or famous Batman
Yeah.
comics, right? And it's like, what happened there? He paralyzed the girl who's going to become Batgirl and
Batgirl,
kidnapped
yeah.
Commissioner Gordon. I mean, that's kind of it.
That is it.
It's not. There's really not much else going on there. It's not like there's a bomb in like the Gotham's,
It's gonna kill millions of people.
Yeah,
he wasn't-
yeah. It's like it's his master plan to like try to turn Gordon crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's it's some weird Joker shit he wanted to do. Like that's it. Like I was watching the Preacher thing or reading Preacher last night, and it was like there's this one scene. I don't want to spoil it, but like it's just basically there's this big shootout at just this house in like Louisiana, and like that's it. Like the house burns down, but it's not. He doesn't fight the town. You know what I mean? Like he's not wrestling a demon flying through the sky. Like you know what I mean? He just wins this moment.
Yeah, and that's more interesting, not just in like superhero, but in genre and in TV in general.
Mm-hmm.
Without that's what made television really compelling the past 20 years, where you would have your protagonist either failing or barely winning, and that was what kept you interested in seeing the next week what would happen with that protagonist. And I think those type of stories that are a lot lesser stakes, you can build into great stakes and extreme stakes over the course of a season and multiple seasons.
Yeah, but you can have high stakes without it like
being the end of the world.
The UN's in the balance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Penguin
Like,
could just kidnap a bus. And you could just have that and
rob a bank or whatever,
and have hostages. And now there's that. Maybe he wired them with bombs. Now you have a whole episode where he has to do hostage negotiation and try to sneak around.
He needs to go to a warehouse. He needs to go to a warehouse and save someone. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be like that's big enough. It's just like the entire city hangs in the balance of every single
bomb.
Always, there's an army of, there's a portal that's going to open up and swallow the whole earth. It's like, can it just be like, his mom got kidnapped and he rescues her? I just don't know why it's always going to be these like end of the world stakes. It just, I don't know. Like superheroes are like, they're like cops, but better.
Yeah.
They keep the peace. Like they're not the guardians of the galaxy.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Todd McFarlane's Spawn film embraces wokeness. Now, I read this article before, and I think John F. Trent is interpreting that. It doesn't sound, like, to me, this isn't smoking gun enough for me to be like, definitely. It doesn't sound great, but I don't know. Let's read.
All right, yeah, and I kind of feel similarly. When we get to it, there's parts of me that thinks, and I think it may even be early on, where I'm like, okay, he might have had his arm twisted a little bit in the direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. McFarlane spoke to CBR about the upcoming film where he made it crystal clear the film was embracing Hollywood's race politics. CBR asked the creator, last month it was announced Brian Tucker is going to take a crack at the movie script. What about his vision for the project impressed you to bring him on board? So who is Brian Tucker? Real quick, before we go any further with this article, I'd like to know who Brian Tucker is. Brian Tucker is a screenwriter. Wait. Okay, so I thought... Okay, that's weird. I thought that they said... All right, so that doesn't make any sense. So I guess he's writing the new Spawn. He doesn't have any... Another one guy with no credits.
That's awesome.
What is the deal with that? How do these guys end up in fucking major motion pictures without any credits? Is he a writer? Is he a novelist?
Eyes Wide Shut parties.
So weird. He wrote Broken City. Oh, okay, at least he's wrote. Okay, in 2013 he wrote Broken City with Mark Wahlberg and Kurt. No, what's that guy's name? Russell Crowe. Yeah, but still, that's it. That's all he did. He wrote one screenplay, and he's writing the new Spawn.
Almost 10 years ago, by the way.
That's crazy. How does that happen? There's nothing else on his Wikipedia. Like, it wasn't like, oh, he's also a novelist, or he writes comic books, or who is this guy?
Some fucking guy. How did he even get that fucking Mark Wahlberg job?
Well, actually, that's kind of interesting because he was an unsolicited screenplay, so he just wrote it, and then and someone bought it, but then it wasn't. I mean, that's actually kind of interesting. Like he's sort of an outsider. Okay, cool, but anyway, so he has. Last month it was announced Brian Tucker is going to take a crack at the movie script. What about his vision for the project impressed you to bring him on board? Mcfarlane answered, well, it wasn't just my decision. There's a handful of other people working on it that we haven't announced yet. One of the people working on it that is going to be a big name when we finally announce it, I think he said he went through close to 100 scripts by as many people as he could. So I guess McFarlane's not very closely associated. Like he's ancillarily connected to this. It doesn't sound like he's producing it.
Yeah, I think he just signed off, taking his check, said you guys can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like. Says the creator then revealed one of the key things he was looking for was a non-white writer. Now Brian Tucker is not non-white; he's white. Like I googled him, I think. Oh wait, no, this is a different guy. It's probably a different Brian Tucker.
There you go. You're apparently Google is bigoted. There you go.
Yeah, liars. Maybe he's not. Maybe there aren't pictures of him. I can't find a picture of him. Anyway, all right.
Okay.
One of the key non-white writer. He said we are looking ideally for someone that could bring a voice to the character on two levels. I'm just a white Canadian kid. I haven't lived the life of a man in America of someone with dark skin. We thought it was important to get the perspective of somebody who has, somebody with that perspective coming in and adding a slightly different bent to what you and I as comic book readers already want to know what Spawn is about.
Because black people can't read comics. We're too stupid. Mom, you know what? Hire Eric July. That's a guy they can hire since they want to, get somebody with a different perspective.
Brilliant.
And, he has a comic company now. So, hire Eric July.
He knows what it's like to be black in America. He loves comic books.
He has a huge platform already built in, so that helps the marketing. Hire Eric July. Give me a reason why. Oh, because it's not.
It's not about race.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's about the right type of, the right side of history. Perspective.
It's pretty interesting. Okay, I'm trying to think of this like open-mindedly. Like I think that's ridiculous that a writer can't write someone else's experience. I mean, it's like so then no woman should write a male character, right?
Ever.
Because she hasn't had the perspective of a man, and no black person should write a Native American or an Asian. Because they haven't had that perspective. So you can literally only. So what do you do? Like, is every screenplay going to be written by committee, where like people jump in and they write their characters of the people that represent exactly what they look like, and then the woman jumps in and writes her part, and the black.
Yep.
Like, are you fucking? Is that like really your philosophy? Like, if you're a screenwriter, that's your job.
Yeah.
Is to imagine other people's perspectives and stories and talk and try to live them and see them through their eyes. That's what the story. That's what it is. And so that's my perspective of like what the writing thing. But then again, I see it from a producer point of view. Like, what really should they do?
Mm-hmm. Well, in this crazy ass world, I don't know what the hell you do.
Like it's the smart play.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you like it's the smart play to get a black screenwriter. Like that's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
like, from their point of view.
To be honest, just because someone's black doesn't. I mean, it's okay to have a black screenwriter as well. You know what I mean? Just make sure they're Rippaverse. And somebody said something. I think the current Spawn is Al Simmons again. He said 90 Spawn was black. I know there has been multiple Spawns, but I think for the past
I didn't know that.
Few years has been Al Simmons, I believe. And
who is Al Simmons?
Al Simmons is the main. He's the black guy. He's the main guy. He's the one Michael Jai White played in the 90s Spawn. So he's like the main Spawn.
So there's multiple Spawns.
I believe so. Yeah.
Was he the first one?
He was the first one.
Okay.
He's the first one. I think he's back as the Spawn.
Okay.
Yeah, and I haven't kept up with every element of Spawn the whole way through, but I believe there's multiple Spawns, and that he is the current one now. And if somebody who knows more about comics or who reads Spawn, please let me know if I'm wrong. either in the chats or the comments, because we know people watch these playbacks. Shout out to the playbacks.
Yeah, word shouts. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never read Spawn. I'm still pretty much a comic normie. I don't know much about it, but I'm just trying to be like, it's like from their point of view, it's like that's the smart play. Like in a perfect world, they should just get whoever like loves the property and loves the comic book and it has the screenwriting talent to adapt it. Like that's who you should get for that.
Yeah, and there are indeed, and now I got people saying Rippaverse in the comments, but there are indeed black people who could do that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it's like that's why I said, okay, cool. Hire Eric July. Hire somebody who has that. Honestly, he doesn't. I don't know if he has any formal writing until what he's doing now. But he is starting his own comic company. So within a few months or however long it takes for everything to be released, he will be a published writer. You know what I mean? So it's like
right.
He's a name if you wanted to call for this sort of stuff because of his expertise with comics, by the way.
Yeah.
Having read comics 20, 30 years or however old he is, read comics his entire life.
Well, they never hire anyone like that. There's never anyone that they bring in that's like, you can't do this, you can't break this rule. Like this is how the comic, like a comic expert, like the way you would do it, like if you were adapting something historical, right? And you bring in, some medieval war course, someone from Cambridge or something like that, Yeah, they don't do that. Because they don't respect this medium. They really don't. As much money as they make on it, as many movies as they make, they don't respect these things as storytelling. This is for kids. This is childish bullshit.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've known they don't respect this medium or us or a lot of ways, but when you said it like that, it's just like, okay, yeah. Because you're right, they don't even get put in that amount.
They wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah.
There's no honor or respect. I mean, like that's why as much as like the fandom like hates Kevin Smith now, but that's why he can get away with it in Hollywood just to destroy it because everyone's like, oh, that stupid kids show He-Man, who cares what he does with it? That's how they look at it.
That's absolutely how they look at it. And it's sad because you would think with all the money that's being made off comic book movies, and maybe too much, because I think they may be going to the well a little too much for the normies. Mm-hmm. But you would think they would say, okay, let's learn about the lore, but obviously not because it's all about agenda. Hopefully, whoever is the writer is not a super woke writer. Hopefully, they pick like a competent. Like when you look, I don't know if Brian Tucker is the guy, and I don't know how to find him. And they say there were other people involved. Hopefully, they pick people, regardless of what color they are, rather black, whatever, that have the property's best interest in mind.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt it.
I got to be positive, though. I'm trying to be positive.
I know. I appreciate that, but I just don't think you don't get plucked in Hollywood without agenda being your life nowadays.
Yeah.
That's what you have to be. You have to be one of these troopers.
Yeah.
That's what gets you noticed.
And unfortunately, because I mean, anytime they come up with a writer that happens to be black or happens to be whatever, they're all super woke, super agenda, super identity based. They're always super identity based. As a black man, as a black woman, as a gay woman, they
just repeat the narrative, repeat the things you've heard a million times. It's not unique thoughts. It's not like, I don't know, I don't really care, I don't see that thing. It's like they get all wrapped up in this stuff. I mean, they're all pretty soy in Hollywood anyway. Like they're all just kind of, They react emotionally. They already know they have the right answers. They already, it's like this collectivist kind of point of view about a lot of that stuff. They all went to colleges where that's how they were indoctrinated. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have very like, how does this guy get this job?
Yeah, that's a $1 billion question. I mean, well, not billion. I don't know how much this movie's worth, but like, I don't know how somebody with such little work experience could get any major movie, not just this, but this is a major movie that a huge budget is going to be spent behind it, and you have no build-up experience. You don't have stuff, especially as a writer. It's not like you're a director where it takes a longer time to get a movie done, where if you had 1 or 2 credits, that's not a lot, but if maybe we're talking, you wrote one thing in 2013, if that is the correct IMDb.
And it's not even a good, like, it's not even like a really successful movie. I've never even heard of that movie.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how he gets this. I don't know. I'm hoping. I'm hoping against hope. It sounds like, and you're probably right because I don't expect from Hollywood, from the entertainment industry, and that's why we kind of sound like a broken record, and that's why I think a lot of us can sound like a broken record.
Mm-hmm.
It's all gonna be woke. It's all gonna be not just woke, but they're not gonna care about the property, and it's just to what extent. Like I felt like something like Shang-Chi, even though I thought it was woke at elements, I also thought it was tolerable at elements, and I can see how normies liked it enough for it to be as moderately successful relative to the Coof, but moderately as far as Marvel as it is. It's like, but
I mean,
it's not good enough though. Like
it
that's
just
not.
sounded like trash.
It was the first 40 minutes have some cool action scenes. After that, it gets really bad, and it's like. But that's a lot of times that's enough for normies. So that's part of the reason they play the games they play. And you think, why would they make something so stupid? It's because you know what? Sometimes they can trick normies into a theater, and that's why that's why they're so arrogant. That's why they play Footloose. That's why they think a 2-year-old James Bond could be that people would pay to see a 2-year-old play James Bond. So yeah, I'm not too, and I got to vamp a little bit from my man Foulball. Hail Punkwater, I appreciate everyone showing up. Isn't everything? So another voice said, "Isn't everything remain woke to the Academy changes their requirements?" Oh yeah, the Academy Awards do have their requirements for. Man, that's gonna be really interesting when that kicks in. I'm not sure if that kicks in next coming year, 2022, or the year after that. But when the Academy has their requirements for movies, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun. And hell, we'll see if people even care by that point. Because the Academy Awards is just uh hemorrhaging viewers. A lot of things are hemorrhaging viewers. So we will see on that. And Matt is back.
Hey.
So cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's like it's a movie with a black protagonist in 2022 or whatever this year. I mean, they wouldn't get. I don't even know. I don't know. You know what I wonder about a lot of this stuff? Like, if everyone comes out and they're losing their minds and, oh, it's racist and, oh, it's oppressive. And then they're just like, yeah, okay. And then they just don't do anything about it. And then, like, the people move on to their next thing. Like, if that would be a way to just get around this. You'd be like, yeah, okay, they're going to yell. And let them yell. And then we don't do anything about it. And then who gives a shit?
Well, shit, that's what they do to us when we yell. They just don't do anything outside of Sonic. But that was more universal. Mm-hmm. But like when people yell, they usually don't do anything, don't give a shit. So why can't you do that when the woke idiots on Twitter, who nobody cares about, yells? And you know something else I forgot to mention, and I'm not sure if it's linked in this article, but there's a Bounding article from the end of last year with Michael Jai White, who played Spawn in the original, saying that he's pessimistic on what they're doing.
With the new
so
one.
It's like, You're so worried about representation, but when it comes to the opinion of a black man who's in Hollywood, who actually played in the original, apparently doesn't have that much weight because his pessimism isn't impacting anything.
Yeah.
Not that it should or shouldn't. He's an actor, but it's like, well, I mean, if you care about the black opinion so much, you would think it should, especially being a guy who played in the first place.
I also think a lot of it has to do with the fact that these guys take their opinion like so seriously, and like this whole, the whole like activism thing, like the activism lifestyle is that they have to take it so seriously in every aspect of their lives. Like this isn't just about, making a good Spawn movie. This is about rectifying the evils of the past of a colonizing, oppressive, evil white man or whatever it is in their head, and that's why they need to do stuff like this. That's why it's so important. So going against it, you're almost saying, like, in their minds, and the people who live in these cities and are in this, especially in the entertainment industry, like at least the time that I spent there, you're basically saying you want to put black people back in slavery. Because if every single action you take is not to progressively undo the evils of the past, you want to go back to the evils of the past.
Here's my always been my issue with these things. They constantly have this opinion, but they usually are doing things in the name of being an ally that's harmful to whether it's black people or whatever group that they champion.
It's
Actually
very
do actions
consistent.
that are very harmful towards that group. So it's like, hey, you're not helping. This doesn't help. We have less black TV on and mainstream black characters than when I was a kid. There was a show called fucking The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and everyone loved it.
Yep.
And there was Independence Day and Men in Black and all these other movies that Will Smith did, all the movies Eddie Murphy did, Bad Boys, all these huge movies that were like #1 movie of the year sometimes, and they were black or mainly black cast, and it's like all that you don't see that as much. You don't see that because now,
and if you do, a lot of people rightfully just tune out.
Yeah,
because it's like they don't want to lecture, and it's even worse when it's female led. It's like they've done more to set back female characters than anything that anyone else. If you were trying to do it, they've set it so far back. It's like now you see a female led anything, you're like, ugh, it's gonna be woke, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Like that show Foundation on like Apple Plus. I'm like, that's gonna be garbage.
I've had no interest. I know I think Cincha Dildo was semi-interested, but then everyone was telling them it's probably going to be terrible.
It looks, you can't have hope for something like that in this day and age.
Family Matters is another good call.
RJ. I used to watch the shit out of Family Matters, and I never thought it's a black family.
And that was one of the most popular shows on TV, period. Of
you
any
just watched
genre.
It. You didn't think about these things. I didn't go to the movies and see Spawn in the theater, which I did do, and think, oh, that's Michael Jai White. He's black. How different. Like, I didn't even think about it. It didn't occur to me. I'm watching the story unfold.
You didn't want to rub your fingers through his hair to see how different it is?
No, I'm not saying it's like I don't notice the difference between black and white people, but it's like when I'm watching the movie, it's not important. It's about there's a story of the black guy. Okay, who cares? Yeah. Like, why do I need to take time to acknowledge that? It's so weird. Yeah. Like
hanging with Mr. Cooper. Yeah, there was a lot of like black comedy shows that were really popular, either in like prime time or like syndication in the 90s, and they don't exist. They'll never happen again because every black character. Hell, Nerdporio. I think he just waited to 1,000 subs.
Oh shit! Way to go! Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Good for you,
congrats.
Dude. That's awesome.
And grinding. I mean, he's been around for like 8-9 months.
Puts out a lot of content too.
He put out a lot of like really good evergreen type style content. So
good stuff.
Good for you, bro.
I was gonna say something when you were talking about how people, how like these efforts they actually end up hurting more than helping. Yeah. That's very universal with a lot of this stuff. I was listening to, I was at the gym earlier today, not bragging, just I was there.
I need to get to the damn gym.
And I was listening to Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. It's cleared up so much stuff for me. Like, just like the difference between like a communist run government or a socialist run government, like just how much, like just the nature of the market just kind of dictates things in this sort of like very natural way. Like it was just talking about how like in Soviet Russia, like if there was a priority for certain things, like they would order it and then they would end up having too much. And then these things would just rot in these big warehouses because it wasn't like a natural need. It was like a government need. And then there had to be like a massive bureaucracy to keep track of all the different prices, and they had to set the prices because it's all communist run economy. It's just like, you're like, wow, I never even thought about that. That's all insane. Like it's so crazy. But the one thing he was bringing up was about, there's like a whole chapter on it essentially, but it was about like rent control laws.
Yeah. I have heard this excerpt. Go ahead, man.
And just how much it actually ends up just hurting the underclass more than anything.
Yeah. I know in the MF you guys were talking about homelessness. As far as San Francisco goes, those laws are probably a soft contributor to a lot of that because that's increased the rent so much that like if you fall off, you could end up homeless pretty quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and it was really intense. And I was listening, I was like, damn, like it was just so fascinating. Like apparently like that, like homelessness kind of just follows around those like rent control laws.
Yeah.
which are designed to help the poor people. But a lot of what ends up happening is that people will keep these apartments when they normally wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like someone could be able to live in one of these apartments that's a little bit more affordable. Like it was really fascinating. And then it ends up like abandoned buildings and stuff like that end up going up because of rent control. It was all this stuff where it was just like, wow, like I never knew that correlation, but it's like it's designed to help, and it ultimately ends up making everything worse. And it's much like what you were bringing up. It's like it's designed to help and ruins everything.
Yeah. And at a certain point, you think, okay, especially because they always like ignore input that lets them know this. It's like, are you guys being malicious or are you guys being ignorant? Either way, it's unacceptable. But the way they have so much disdain for you pointing this out, you know,
well,
it makes what?
Well, I mean, my conspiracy brain thinks it's because, like, ultimately, a lot of this stuff just ends up helping the rich.
Yeah, it
you
does.
know, and
it
it's like
does.
The rich elitists in Hollywood. Like, that's who runs the town. That's who works in that industry for the most part. Like, that's who, like, the pretty shiny Hollywood people. So it's like, I don't know. Like, is there what's the word? Like, motivation for them to keep
nefarious?
Spreading this? Yeah. To spread this shit because it benefits them in the long run? I don't know.
Maybe, and that's a good question, good point. I think honestly, I'm of the belief yes, because my conspiracy theory brain's already there. I'm of the belief that all of these things, either were directly intended or when they were found out to have these negative effects, intentionally continued for the purposes of, like you said, bettering the rich in whatever way it does.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's crazy. Like, of course it is Ascension Tildo.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. Like, all these places that, like, end up having, like, all these super high taxes to support these social programs, they ultimately end up just becoming places that no one except the rich can really afford.
Yeah.
And it's like the exact opposite of what they say they want. So I don't know. It's kind of a little off topic, but it's just something that occurred to me as you were talking about that.
And I can't remember the statistic about San Francisco. I think the amount of they wanted to get more black people to live there, and the black people in San Francisco went from like 20% to 10% after rent control. It was something like that. I can't tell you what the numbers were specifically, but it dropped quite a bit.
Yeah, because ultimately it's just like, just get your fucking stupid government hands out of it.
Yeah.
We don't need it. It'll sort itself out.
Yeah.
You're not. It's really interesting. Like the more they try to like meddle, and the more they ruin everything.
Yeah. That's why I dislike the government. Everything they touch goes to shit.
Yeah.
Everything they touch.
Because you can't force these kinds of things. You can't just change things because you decide it. And it's also like it's all executed by government employees, you know, who like they're never gonna get fired. They don't really have much skin in this game. They're just kind of going through the motions, doing what they're supposed to do, and ultimately it just ends up like ruining everything. Like there's this so that the USDA organic thing, you know, is like a big thing when it comes to food, you know. But it's like it's such a pain in the ass to get your food like to be approved by the government organically. Meanwhile, what they really just need to do is just drop the government subsidies for all these like shitty farms and the corn industry.
Yes.
Like all you got to do is just do less, and then the problem will sort itself out.
Yeah, and again, there's nefarious shit with that. There's a lot of people who are lobbyists who represent a lot of these either the corn industry or really a lot of food industry in general, because they use corn for every fucking thing. I know we're off topic, but it's on topic.
And then they'll fighting the culture crimes.
We're fighting culture crime fires. It's in the name. This is a crime against culture. It's something that happens in general where the government interferes. So yeah, with the food thing, they'll subsidize. They'll subsidize it because some lobbyists will go to a government official, or what often happens is a government official either will wait their year. I don't know what the time period, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years. It may have made it 5 years, but there's a time period of which you can transition from the FDA to working at like Kellogg or Coca-Cola or something. And so they'll go back and forth between government official and corporate official. Either way, either a corporate official becomes a government official or vice versa, or both, because they'll go back and forth.
And on both sides of the aisle, when this comes up, what do you hear about getting rid of the subsidies or getting rid of like any of this kind of, like government controlled pricing Fucking crickets. Not a goddamn thing. No Republicans either, by the way.
No.
No. I don't hear the conservatives rallying to get rid of the artificially inflated cost of sugar.
Yeah.
Like, it's all this shit, man.
To shit on the Republicans anymore, which it seems like we do every week.
Fuck them.
But when you think about it, that would affect the Republican-ran states. You're talking about the middle of America. That's where all the farmland is.
That's right.
And they do nothing for them. You know, what you would think their constituents see is. So it's not. It's the government sucks. Government sucks. If you learn nothing from the culture crime fighters, government sucks.
Absolutely, and definitely read Thomas Sowell. It's he's badass.
Yes, read or listen to Thomas Sowell. Yes, the Republicans were always useless.
They're all useless. I mean, they're all useless. It's like the less of them, the better.
Yes.
It's like you need some government, but it should be small and really watched closely.
Yes. And we are far and away from that. We have to. Hopefully, people say the pendulum will swing. We will see. I'm hoping that it does.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it does.
It is wild.
Yeah, that was a bowl of tangents with the whole Spawn thing.
That's okay. But it was good. It was
yeah, because a lot of it it's related. I mean, that's why there's been such a crossover of politics and culture, because it's like, okay, there's nefarious things happening and there's reasons for these things, and they're politically motivated. Fucking AOC has her fucking tax the rich dress at the Met Gala, you know what I mean? And then obviously we saw what happened with Nicki Minaj.
Not wearing a mask. I'm wearing
a mask. See,
dude, the Emmys was the worst one apparently, because they actually technically broke the law by doing that.
Oh.
Because you can't even be like in a bar or restaurant like without your mask, like it was without eating or drinking. Like, they technically broke. I believe this is the case. They technically broke Los Angeles law by doing that.
So all those celebrities will be fined, obviously.
Of course, yeah. I'm sure that Garcetti is going to rush right in and give them a fine.
Cocksucker Garcetti.
Oof,
sorry, that was almost a
Wire
reference. Cocksucker Carcetti, I think it was.
Oh, Carcetti from was that
The
Dark
Wire.
Knight? The Wire.
The Wire. No, he was in the Dark Knight too. He's in the opening scene, I think, with Bane.
He's the Irish guy. The Littlefinger.
Yeah.
The Wire, man. That's a great show. I know we've talked about that before, but we did recently lose Michael K. Williams, so I guess it's worth talking about.
Sad.
But if you haven't seen that show, it's a terrific. It really does show like a lot of like this corruption in government. Like it shows how it happens, how you go from like a genuine idealist to part of the system like immediately.
Yes. It shows how it's funny. Carcetti, it shows how he corrupts. He starts off as this idealistic, genuine guy, and then it takes just
Slips
a little
up
bit of
one little time, and then a little ego and self-preservation, and and then he just starts doing exactly what the guy before him did almost immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty fascinating, man. It was good. Brutal institutions and stuff like that. Yeah, Yeah, like that show, it's kind of hopeless though when you think about it.
It is a hopeless show. It's a very bleak show.
Mm-hmm.
But government is kind of hopeless. You know what? I could go with David Simon, but there's one thing I did want to mention, and I haven't mentioned in a couple weeks. Did you see the Hawkeye trailer?
No.
Okay.
Can we hold on? Can we just put a pin in that for just 1 second? Because I'd like to take this time to announce that officially next week, the Culture Crime Fighters, we are changing our time.
Yes.
We are moving 6 hours up in the day.
Yeah. So for
research has shown that the 12 o'clock Central slot has got a lot more traction. No, I'm just kidding. It has nothing to do with that.
My job has made me move. My job schedule I've been training, and next week I go on my full schedule. So 1 to 3 Eastern, noon to 2 Central, and then you guys can work it out for every other time zone you guys are at.
But starting next week, that's when it's going to happen. We're sorry. There's really nothing else we could do about it. This is Vidge's new schedule is kind of like every day, so it's not. We can't even switch days to keep it on this time.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately,
this is what it is. We'll still, fight culture crime. And if you can't catch us live here, you can also catch us on anywhere you pick up podcasts.
There you go. That's some
because
marketing.
the Culture Crime Fighters is on Spotify and iTunes and Google Podcasts and all kinds of shit. And we are huge in the Barbados.
We are international superstars in Barbados.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's accurate. That might have just been some bullshit. But someone said we were number 54 in comedy podcasts in the Barbados.
Top 100 in Barbados.
There we go.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, and we do. I mean, it is kind of cool. The Culture Crime Fighters, like on the website that I use to host it, there actually is a map of like where people consume this show. And it's all over the world, which is really fucking cool. Like there's Europe and all over the States, Bangladesh, Russia. That's pretty fucking cool. South America. Yeah, Russia.
How did that happen?
And Moscow too. And
Maybe
Moscow.
Snortopoopas. He's a bear. I didn't think about that. He's a polar
That
bear.
could be, but it's right in the heart of Moscow. Like right, it looks like maybe the Kremlin's listening. I don't know.
There you go. There you go. Maybe Putin's a fan.
Maybe he's a big. Islington Girl says there are 55 comedy podcasts in the Barbados. Hey, we're not in last place.
54. There you go.
54. Absolutely.
Are there really? Is that a joke?
I don't know.
Did you do
Who
research? I'm sure it's a joke. You can't do the research that fast. I hope not.
Yeah. But
Don't kill our dreams.
yeah. So check us out on Spotify and all that good shit, and wherever you get podcasts. And next week we're moving up to noon Central, 1 Eastern.
And think of it like this: by the time, if you do show up at 6, the show will already be done.
Yeah, that's true.
You can watch the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, the interaction at that point will be much lower. But you could always leave a comment. Please do leave a comment.
Yeah. Leave a comment.
And make sure you're subbed to both of us, because I think we're both in YouTube jail.
Yes, we are.
My numbers have just been going down. It's like I lose. I mean, maybe people don't like my content. I don't know. They just unsub, but it's been a lot of unsubs this month. So if you intend on remaining a fan, please subscribe, because
yes, please do.
It's tanking.
YouTube hates us. They
Kinda,
really
I think
hate
so.
us. Both of our channels too, because like I've been to 657 as far as subs like 2 or 3 times, and I noticed even this stream started off, we had like 9 people for the first like half hour. We appreciate everyone who showed up.
Hell yeah,
now,
we do.
And I had trouble even finding it to just like link it out, so they're fucking with us.
Yeah. Although we got 20 people watching right now.
We got 20 now, so people.
Thank you very much for watching,
y'all.
by the way. Hey,
please like and share if you haven't.
Please like, share, subscribe.
All that good stuff.
Tell your friends.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. So I got the Hawkeye trailer pulled up.
Okay, yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah, because there's an interesting scene. I kind of want to just play it and see if you spot the scene and was like, interesting. It's probably nothing, but I kind of I thought it was interesting. I want to see if you catch it, and just to see if I'm so calibrated for this stuff that I see things. I get shocked at things I shouldn't. Go ahead.
Islington Girl says that I got 1.62, had 1,000 a few months ago. Isn't that good? It is. However, the thing is, those numbers are, I mean, I'm grateful for them, but they're basically because of Gary. I mean, at least the most recent. I mean, yeah, it's all pretty much because of Gary. Because it's like he came on the channel to do the Culture Crime Fighters a few weeks ago and tweeted it out, and also mentioned it on a live stream. So the numbers went through the roof. And also he mentioned the fact that I had that video about Gina Carano and Bill Burr. And then a few months before that, he came on to talk about the final episode of The Expanse. Now, I'm 100% grateful for that. But those boosts basically are people who coming because of Gary, and that's what got me over the thing. I guess, granted, the Bill Burr video was mine. But for the most part, it's very much in due to Gary. So I'm not in any way ungrateful for it. It's way ahead of schedule. However, it's not moving. Not only am I not like maintaining, I'm losing. I'm just losing all these subs, and that's just disheartening. And I guess I'm kind of like, I don't know why. If I'm putting out new content, shouldn't I grow? You know?
Yeah.
Maybe you're right though. Maybe I should be a little more.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I think. You know what? I will say I've become somebody, and this sucks. I just did complain about YouTube. When I hear it, I'm like, okay, we get it. YouTube sucks, but like, and maybe, and so on the
That's
other end, I
funny.
kind of understand that. So we're not to complain. We're so appreciative that any of you guys
100%.
show up each
100%.
week. We're bummed that we have to move the show. I'm very bummed. I hate inconveniencing everybody.
Yeah.
But it really sucks. And
It's the
I
only
hope
way to keep the
everybody
show
can
going.
join us.
Yeah, we really, really hope you guys come back, and check us out because it's great. It's great. Cold Era says, grow more hair, then we'll talk.
Well, he does have hair, right? Right there.
Yeah, look at right there. Right
Right,
down the middle.
you can't see my mouse, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Hail Pop Culture Republic.
Hell. And New Bomb Turk.
And New Bomb
That's how
Turk.
long you've been
Hail.
here. But
New Bomb
just
Turk.
saying hey.
All right, so let's watch this trailer. This is the first I've seen it. I haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, it's from a
Thought I'd
few
go
weeks
back.
ago, so it's not new.
New.
This is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys. I'm making up for some lost time.
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the
Hey.
city's underworld
What?
is back.
The
What have you
fuck?
been up to, Vig?
And hey, I need to be up to talking to lawyers. I don't know what the hell's going on.
They're stealing your identity.
There you go. What the hell?
Want some likeness rights?
The past has caught up with me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
Did not sell out such a deal. I
What
would.
I
I
wish.
wish.
I made a whole lot of enemies.
I'll take that.
But is it a girl?
Of course.
You're Hawkeye.
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
Hey, babe. I should be back in a day or two. Hang on a second.
With the kids jingle belling and everyone telling.
Things have gotten more complicated.
Most wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most wonderful.
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say definitely like that. Holy shit! There are arrows more dangerous than that
It's a
Some
series?
Christmas.
Oh shit! I think it is a series. Looks like it could have been done in 90 minutes, like all the Disney series they've ever done.
How is that? That's not just a single one-off movie. That's
I
gotta be
thought
10
that was a
episodes.
90. I thought it was original series. Yeah, it is. I just watched the kind of replay on YouTube. So yeah, I didn't even realize that. But the scene I found interesting, and maybe they're working me.
Uh-huh.
There's a scene where she falls,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, huh. Usually they don't ever show a girl mess up ever at all, ever.
Well, I don't know
She
how it's
walks-
going to play out, but she actually did look more like his protege
Yeah,
than like the
that's-
leader.
That's what I mean.
I'd like to shit all over that, but the only thing that kind of turned me off was just the heavy-handed comedy of it.
Yeah, that's the Marvel thing.
Yeah, we were like, whoa, it's clearly silly. It's like, could it not be silly for a little while? I don't know. It actually, that didn't really look that bad.
Okay, so that's what my shocking thing was. It was like, it doesn't show her as the superior Mary Sue.
Mhm.
It shows that she has to learn, and she's learning from him. Yeah, that comedy, that slapstick kind of,
Yeah.
but it's a buddy cop movie. That's what they're trying to pull, and I thought that was shocking because I'm so used to Bestest Evar, and I
Yeah.
believe in the comics she's very much Bestest Evar. She's very much just better than Clint, but here it's like you kind of see like she's not perfect. And he's trying to guide her and go through this process. Now, how this can be more than one episode, only the Most High knows.
Why
They're
would that not-
stretching stuff out.
Yeah, why would that not just be one single movie?
Christmas special, just a 90-minute Christmas special with Hawkeye, and there you go.
Yeah,
you don't
like,
have to.
I don't like. What are you gonna do with that story? It looks like the basic mob guys or something like that, which is fine. Like I said, I'd like to see something a little more stripped down. Yeah. Shut up, Cold. Not surprised Matt will like it. Look, I call him as I see him. Okay, I'm trying to keep an open mind in general. Oh, hey, 24/7 Fusion.
Yeah,
what's up?
24/7 Fusion.
Good to see you, man. I'm trying to keep a genuinely open mind to things. Like even though I preach don't have hope. I still authentically don't want to prejudge something until until it proves to me that it's garbage. That didn't look terrible. It looked, like I said, kind of stripped down and maybe like in the vein of like what Hawkeye was doing, like in those 5 years or whatever with Infinity War and Endgame. I don't know. What do you think?
I kind of had similar vibes. That's why I've been meaning like the past couple of weeks to have you watch it to see what you thought, because I'm like, am I crazy for having any positive feelings?
So it's a mini series. Okay,
a mini series.
Just
so
like
how many episodes? Please,
8.
before 8.
8.
You don't need 8 episodes.
Are they going to be long though? They could be like those little
Half
25-minute
20
weird.
minutes.
Yeah.
Even 20 minutes and then like 20 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? That's one criticism I will say about Disney Plus. Every single thing they've done as far as the series could have been done way shorter. It could have been, and probably should have been a movie.
Yep.
Could have been wrapped up in an hour and a half, 2-hour movie, and probably would have been better for it. Now, granted, their plan worked. Their evil genius plan to have something every week since The Mandalorian, since the first week of The Mandalorian, Disney Plus has had something new from either Star Wars or Marvel every single week. Whether it was Mandalorian or mostly Marvel, even it includes the What If that's running now, but they've had something every week, and they're gonna. I think Boba Fett is what they announced that release date, right?
Yeah, I think it's coming out in December. Sorry, I was just looking up the showrunner's IMDb. Jonathan Igla, I guess his name is.
Oh, it's a guy.
It's a guy.
Whoa!
And he
I just knew it was gonna be a white woman.
And he looks white.
Whoa!
I know, it's pretty crazy.
He can't be straight though. There's no way.
I don't know. It's Hollywood. No one's straight.
Oh boy.
What? No, I didn't mean me. Obviously, no. I guess he was the executive story editor for a season of Mad Men, and he wrote a whole bunch of episodes. He wrote like over 30 episodes.
Oh wow! So that sounds like experience. He's an experienced white male running a show in Hollywood in 2021 for Disney.
Yeah, like
How
that's
did
pretty
that
solid pedigree. Like that's actually like. I respect that.
Straight. He had
no way.
No way.
He was the producer on a show called Bridgerton.
Do not
Are
know
you familiar?
that. I'm not offhand. Chat,
Oof.
please enlighten us on Bridgerton.
No, it's from Shondaland. Oh no.
Shondaland.
Shondaland is the woman that's the name of the production company. She's what's Shonda?
Shonda was it Rhymes or something?
I think like that. She's the one who did Grey's Anatomy and the
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That's trouble.
So that's how he got in. He came off of that branch.
Yeah.
Of the Chandra Rhymes. Could you guys correct that as well, chat? I don't want to mispronounce the name. I don't want to be called a black white supremacist. So you guys can help me out with that.
So that's the last thing he produced. Nah. Okay. He wrote a few episodes here and there, some TV.
You got listen. You got an experienced white male. There is no way he's not going to be off of a.
He's got to come through somehow.
He's got to come through somebody's circle.
No you know based. There's no. What's that guy who wrote like Taxi Driver and stuff? There's like those guys are the relics of the past. You know what I mean?
Scorsese?
Like no, he directed it, but I get John something.
Oh,
I want to say John C. McGinley, but that's that other guy. It's like John Milius. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wrote like he's just like this. So is it John Milius? Something else? Milius? Yeah, no, it's John Milius. Okay, yeah, he wrote Taxi Driver, and he wrote the what's it called for Clint in or Quint in Jaws. He wrote the monologue about the boom Hiroshima boom. about the going into the water with the sharks, and he wrote all these like kind of very male guy. You know what I mean? Very just like a dude. Those guys they don't exist any longer.
Yeah. Not Busta
He wrote
Rhymes,
Conan the
Chandra
Barbarian.
Rhymes.
He wrote Apocalypse
wow.
Now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's that guy.
Those guys are gone forever. So you have to. You got to at least be half a femme. So I mean I don't know. We'll see. It didn't look terrible, honestly. Like I know it's Disney and stuff, but really that didn't look that bad.
Yeah. I would tend to agree. Which is kind of the shocking element. It doesn't look like a world beater show either, but I mean it looks fun, almost along the lines of that fucking Kurt Russell as Santa movie we saw last year. Probably isn't as good.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty. Oh wait, I'm thinking. Sorry, yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, they're going with the holiday play. It's gonna be fun. It's a Christmas thing. Yeah, I mean, if the Wake Down can sail me to Tortuga, I might just check it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay any money for Disney.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon Hawkeye. You know what? That's not a bad way to put it. It's much. Listen, I much rather them do a Lethal Weapon. She's kind of a screw up, but she's good at certain things, and she has to go. But he's the old guy, and you see the little different. Lethal Weapon. The taking people at different points in their life and juxtaposing them, and buddy cop. I much rather that situation than which I think, and you guys can correct me, I believe the comics, and it's 24/7 Fusion Media, you would know, aren't in the comics, Kate Bishop is like leading Hawkeye, basically. Like she's the dominant one, and he's just the general screw up who doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, Cold, can you confirm that? Because you feel like more like the knowledgeable comic fella.
Yeah, Cold Era 24/7. You guys are really big into the comics, so you guys hopefully can help us out with that.
Brightest Day. I didn't mean to malign you. Hail, by the way.
Hail, Brightest Day.
He's not the only one who uses Tortuga. Yeah, but he's just my link.
Oh yeah, and you know
what?
what?
He knows how to navigate all that shit.
He's hooked me up with stuff I haven't had time to check out, so I gotta check it out for the gaming thing.
Honestly, Pop Culture Republic, though, if he did say something like, I'm getting too old for this, like it was just cliches, I would be fine with that. I'll take anything over woke intersectionality in my entertainment, dude.
Yeah.
I'll just take repetitive, already been done, that's fine, as long as it's not preachy or, like, contrary to the nature of reality. How about that?
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be moments, but it looks cliche as shit, but we haven't even gotten cliche in like 10 years. So it's like, all right, I'll take it.
It really doesn't look that bad. It's a trailer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't look terrible. Like I said, I'll sell the high seas. Take a look.
Apparently, 24/7 said I'm right. He does take a back seat to her in the comics. Doesn't look, at least from the trailer, like they're doing that.
It might be how they end it though. Because they do this a lot, and they're really good at it. They're so nefarious. They front load it, with good, interesting episodes. At least they did that with WandaVision. That was the last Disney thing I watched. But it was and I didn't finish it. I watched like the first 4 episodes or whatever, and I lost interest. I think around I don't know. I just stopped watching. But they did that well.
At the right time.
Yeah, and they did it well by making you intrigued into what's this concept. And so maybe they do that where Hawkeye's like the bad guy and slowly he passes the mantle. But she doesn't seem like she's running the show. So I got to give it a little bit of credit in that regard. She's not, snarkily telling him how the things are. He looks like he's just kind of like, I got to drag this kid around now.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah. So I'm hopeful. Again, I'm cautious. I'm more optimistic than Matt on Spawn. I think we have the same amount of optimism on this. Everything can't be terrible all the time. Human beings aren't perfect. Even if you try to fuck up everything, you'll accidentally do something right every once in a while.
Is there a director for the new Spawn movie? Oh, Jason Blumhouse is. Oh, that's not a good sign. I think Blumhouse they're pretty woke, as I understand it.
Well, yeah, apparently, because we were talking about that on Monday, but they are, but they're also mainly like a horror place. So I mean, it kind of fits.
Yeah, kind of horror. It's in genre, but they did Get Out, which I never actually saw. But I heard it's like, I heard it's like for what it is, it's good. But I feel like it's probably just a really good execution of the agenda.
Yeah. Actually, I never saw Get Out. I did see parts of Us.
They did Glass.
That's the. I didn't see that, but that was like
Right.
the
That's
Unbreakable.
the terrible, Unbreakable. Like everyone loathed that. That's where they drowned. They subverted our expectations by drowning Unbreakable in a puddle.
Is that what they do? Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Oh, they did Us.
Us, yeah.
Yeah, Black Christmas. What is that? I didn't even hear
Never
about
heard
that.
of that.
Slasher film. Oh, I don't know. I've never even. It's just a bunch of girls sitting on a couch. I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Sounds like a Hub intro.
Oh, they did the Craft reboot, which apparently was super woke. They did Freaky, which I think was supposed to be good. That's the one where like the teenage girl and the serial killer switch places, right?
Oh, I didn't see that, but I think I may remember the trailer for that.
And Vince Vaughn's in it. Apparently, that was supposed to be pretty good. I never saw it. I don't know. I didn't
Okay.
see any of that.
I feel like they did. Didn't they do what's that shit? What was it? Quiet Place? Is that them?
Did they do The Quiet Place? I don't think so.
Maybe I'm wrong. I know they were mentioned when we had R&B on because he talked about how they're really
Yeah.
good at making their budget back. They're really good at making these small $20 million movies and getting $100+ million back.
Yeah.
And I think even if they, if they're woke or whatever,
Oh, they did the Forever Purge though, and I was listening to Ryan Long talk about how laughably woke that all was.
the Forever Purge. Which one is that? There's one that's like so racist. I don't remember which one it was. Maybe that's the
feel like-
first Purge. But
I
I
don't
was
know.
watching it one time, like high over like a friend's house, and I'm like, "Yo, this is like racist as fuck." But it's trying to be like helpful. But it's like y'all clearly don't think much of black people. Obviously.
Yeah. Paramount's A Quiet Place.
Paramount. Okay, thank you for correcting.
Hail Gomer Kyle. Hey, Maxfield Von Priestley. What's
Hell,
up, dog?
MVP.
Hail. What's up, dude?
Hell. And Gomer Kyle also says he knows it's horror and Blumhouse is killing it. So apparently horror fans are happy with his work. I mean, how can you make a horror movie woke? I mean, even if you have someone with some crazy ass, because you could almost make fun of it at that point. Let's say you have this fucking intergender study. She gives a speech, and then you could just chop her head off. You know what I mean? Just go about the
Yeah,
rest
but
of the fucking movie.
they're not gonna do that. I mean, you know how they would do it. They would make all the villains would be a certain type of person with a certain type of motivation, and the hero would be a certain kind of, I don't know. I'm not really
Imagine
sure about my indictment.
Jason Voorhees in a MAGA hockey mask, chopping people
Or
up.
like a social justice Jason who only kills people that need to be killed.
Man.
You know?
No, he's only killing straight white men
Yeah.
for the picture. Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, we'll see. Blumhouse, that doesn't sound good to me, but we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hail.
So I wanted to talk about actually some of the things in the because we haven't really talked much about the stuff in the subject
The
or
description.
the description. Yeah. Because we talked about one Tom Hardy LGBTQ thing, but apparently Bane
right.
is Latinx.
Did you guys hear this? Bane's Latinx. What?
That's awesome. I
just
guess we
got-
did mention Boba Fett because you did say it comes out.
I don't
soon.
think there's really anything else to mention, really.
Yeah.
I just think it's the Book of Boba Fett is coming out December 29th, so it's like right before New Year's.
Yeah. Man, listen, as much as I hate Disney Plus, I know a lot of us hate Disney, I got to say the marketing, and their numbers probably are fudged as far as the subscription numbers. But I still think even in a while, I know a lot of normies have watched Disney stuff. And
Do we know?
them having every week, having something new really did work. It really
Yeah,
did.
it's working for now.
Yeah, well, for now, I don't know how long it's going to work. But I think it's probably starting to die. The what if, I don't think it's getting. I mean, people watch it and like it, but I think animation in general, outside of Invincible, I don't know how many animated properties really get people excited, like normies, I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. Personally, like this whole Boba Fett story, like if it was, if I like what would I want to see would be like what he did before he got murked in the
Yeah.
the pit. You know, like who was he before? Like I'd like to see what kind of a ruthless bounty hunter he was. But the thing is, he's a villain that they're trying to make not a villain right now. So it's like they can't really do that because he's a bad guy back then. Yeah, Boba Fett. Yeah, you're right, Gold Era. He really is.
Hey, don't make fun of me. No, like I really think you're right. The most interesting elements of Boba Fett will either be before Empire Strikes Back, like before he even has this Han Solo thing, or in between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Those are the parts I'm more interested in. I'm not really interested in. I didn't like Boba
Not really
Fett
much.
in
He didn't do
Mandalorian.
much though. No, I didn't. I don't even make it that far. I don't like that he's. I don't care if the EU did it or not. I don't like that they resurrected him.
I don't either. I think Star Wars had the EU. That's one mistake the EU makes quite a bit. They resurrected Darth Maul. They resurrected Boba Fett. They'll just resurrect the character because they're cool and beloved, and maybe they tell a good story with it. I'm not an EU expert, but I think they resurrect too many.
But why not tell the story of who they were before they died in the movie?
That would be great.
They didn't just, it's not like they were like recent graduates of the Jedi Academy or something like that. Like they were established villains. They were bad. So what did they do to make them bad? I'd like to see that story. But then I guess you can't have like the villain be the protagonist.
Yeah, because that didn't work in 2019. Joker making $1 billion. I mean, like it
That's
works.
true. That's a good point.
We were just talking about Breaking Bad. Isn't that part of the interest? I'm not a big fan of the show, but the interest is you have the protagonist.
That's a good
does
point.
nefarious things.
Yeah,
So
right.
I think you can have a villain be the protagonist of a series, and I think really Boba Fett, man, I did not like how they did him in The Mandalorian. I thought if you're going to bring this character back, one, give him more than that 15-minute fight scene that everybody loved, but I hated. And then two, just like, what is his motivation and how is this consistent with the original character? Even if you're saying he transitioned into just a better person, why? And show like how did that happen? I think it's all of a sudden. Yeah.
Well, I think it's kind of like the way you were describing the way Batman, they so focus on like the death of his parents, but that was like never like a big deal. Like I think they're using Boba Fett the way people talk about Boba Fett after the movies existed, like because he was such a cool character, but they're not keeping it in line with who he was.
Yeah, because Boba Fett, one, is not a big character. He's not a character that has a huge element of the lore. He's just cool looking. We were interested in him.
Yeah.
And two, he was not a good person. He just cared. He didn't care about anything but getting his money. He didn't even care about he wasn't worried about Darth Vader. He wasn't worried about the Empire's cause. He's just a gun for hire. And honestly, this is something they could have did with the Mandalorian itself before they made the Baby Yoda show, which clearly was the whole goal. Like, characters like this don't have to always be good or bad. They could say, oh man, the Empire hired him or Jabba hired him to get Han Solo, but the next thing you might see the Rebels hire him for another reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't care. He's just a gun for hire. And that's a way of telling the story. I don't know. There's a lot they could do outside of let's just make him a good guy and rewrite everything and tell our own story because the reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's because the main narrative has been so corrupted and destroyed, by the sequels. It's like this is kind of the only thing they can really do is talk about these little pockets of stuff that go on in the Star Wars universe because they can't touch. Like Favreau and Filoni cannot pick up where Disney left off. Meaning, you know what I mean? They can't move forward like with that storyline because they know everyone hates it. But they can't really rewrite it either and tell like the main story of Star Wars or whatever. So like retell the sequels, if you will. So really this is their only option is to kind of like find these little pockets of the lore that they can kind of exploit.
Yeah. And
what's he going to do? Do you even know? Does anyone know what the story of the book of Boba Fett is?
I don't know. I know they had that one scene where he just kind of takes over Jabba's place in like one fell swoop. And that was the ending scene of The Mandalorian. That was like the post-credit scene. That is what tipped me off to the fact that Luke was going to be full of shit when they brought him back, because I'm like, well, you've already kind of embarrassed his character multiple times and changed his origin, and now you're trying to make him a badass at one scene. after the scene they just gave me, I think you guys are working us. I think you're just trying to jerk more money out of people you alienated. And I was
agree.
right.
And it doesn't look like there's been much released about the story at all.
Huh.
Like everything I'm Googling, it's just telling like who's involved, who's making it. Kathleen Kennedy is still listed as a producer.
She ain't going nowhere.
She ain't going anywhere.
She ain't
She'll leave when she's good and ready.
nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. No.
The executive, I guess Robert Rodriguez is involved.
That's interesting.
Oh, he's directing. So Filoni and executive produced. Okay, yeah. So Favreau, Filoni, and Rodriguez are executive producing. I mean, listen, if they could be left alone to actually just make a cool show, those three guys could do it.
Yeah, they definitely have the talent to do it. We'll see how left alone they are. Like we said, Kathleen Kennedy ain't going nowhere. She's probably going to get it. I'm not sure if her extension has been officially announced, but I see her getting a major extension for a shit ton of money, especially because of Kurtzman and a couple of other. I think Chandra Rhimes, who we mentioned earlier, is one of these producers that's made like these mega deals to be producers for properties. And unfortunately, none of them are as successful as Kathleen Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
Love her or hate her. That first movie, the first two movies, even the Last Jedi, made a lot of money. And
she also has just been around forever.
Yeah. She's the third most successful producer of all time.
Yeah.
By money. So, like, she's been around for like 30,
She's
40
just
years.
Been attached to the right. Oh, that's a no. Ooh, I don't like that. Sorry, I just uncovered, as I was just going back through some IMDb tabs I had open. So some of the writers for the Hawkeye miniseries is this writing team that they call themselves Bert and Bertie.
Oof.
They're a female writing directing team, Bert and Bertie. They burst onto the scene with their feature directorial debut, Troop Zero, which is an Amazon Prime exclusive. They've done a bunch of stuff I've never heard of.
Bert and Bertie sounds like a twee indie band.
They look like that.
like a twee indie band that I would have like listened to in like 2009 because
it's
the hipsters told me to.
shoot, they look exhausting. Look at this. Is this it?
Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they look like somebody the needle dropper recommend or something. Like,
I am a human female is the shirt that they're both wearing. It's like,
okay.
So yeah, it's the Hawkeye show will not be free of wokeness. Is impossible. Oh, look at them embracing Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. Isn't that funny? Mm-hmm. Jesus. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hipster garage rock band. Yeah, something like that. They just sound.
Yeah, they look like one of them plays the ukulele.
Yeah, I'm sure both of them play instruments of some sort.
Yeah. Ugh.
One of them, they play bass poorly.
Well, there is something that is coming out that I actually am genuinely excited to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know anything about this. I don't know if you ever watched the show, but it's The Many Saints of Newark. Soprano.
I know I can't say it. I did watch parts of The Sopranos. I wasn't as big of a fan as everybody else. It wasn't terrible.
Again.
I should try again.
Yeah, I don't know
actually, I stopped. I like it. I didn't dislike it though. I got pretty far.
Okay.
Into the first season.
All right, so maybe it's just not for you.
But I didn't dislike it. It was a cool watch. It was solid, but I didn't. Sometimes hype kills things. Like it's something that if I just probably watched on my own, I would have liked. But the hype and expectation, it's okay.
Well, I will say that the first maybe season or two, I think, as I recall, they kind of suffer from the fact that they're a product of their own time, which was pre-streaming.
Yeah.
This was in 2000, I think, 2001.
Yeah, I think it is 2000, 2001.
You know,
maybe
that was
99.
I don't even think on demand was a thing yet.
Yeah,
so you just had TV, and you had to catch the show when it was on. And if you didn't catch it, you didn't get to see it. You didn't, if you missed it, you fucking missed it. Maybe they do a rerun during the week, but you just missed it. So they would write them, because this is the way television was written back then, where whatever storyline they established that was like the A story of that particular episode would get wrapped up every episode. and it feels archaic when you watch it now because the only stories that do that are like procedurals.
Yeah.
You know, like Law and Order or whatever. Like no other really like, or even The Mandalorian, I guess. But most TV shows, especially episodic narrative TV show, they don't do that. They string you along with the whole story. Now, and the show does do that. It does have longer running stories that go parallel to these A stories. But the A story is wrapped up pretty like almost every single episode. That episode, and it kind of like grinds with our more modern sensibilities. So I will say that there is that part of it that kind of feels a little different and weird from what we watch today.
Maybe I should give it another watch. But I have seen the advertising for the Many Saints of Newark, and you said you are excited for it.
Yes.
Okay.
David Chase
Cool.
is involved,
Cool.
and like he's the director, I think, or at least the writer, and he was the producer of the whole show. From the start to finish. It's his thing. And I'm not a fan simply because David Chase went to my high school. That is just a coincidence.
Wow. Illuminati confirmed. No, are you worried? Because like, is David Chase one of those wokies? Like, are you worried?
No, he's never. He is pretty based.
Okay. Because like, that's what do you worry? Is it gonna be woke? Hashtag. Yeah, Tony. It's a prequel, right?
Yes.
Maybe Tony before he was sucking dick before you didn't know. He was celebrating his LGBT. He was celebrating his Latinxness before.
I've never heard
a mob leader.
I've never heard anything like about him that I would find controversial.
All right.
Like I just heard him just being a solid, just like really respectable television writer who, you know what I mean? Like basically I think he just did this one show, maybe like a few other things, but that was just his thing. And I guess this is a prequel to it. Do you want to watch the trailer?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right.
As we get it up. And Sister Diddle says, get ready for woke gangsters. Yeah, that's what I worry about.
Like that Bill Burr sketch from SNL last year?
I didn't see that. I don't remember.
It was actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because it was like this old mobster just gets out of jail and he just kind of starts dropping like these sort of racial stuff. Like I see all these damn Mexicans on our block and they're like, whoa, what do you mean by that? Why are you saying Mexicans? Like even the mob got woke. I thought that was pretty funny.
No.
I thought that was a pretty good
I wonder
joke.
if the mob is woke now. Like, hey, stop being a fucking bigot.
The progressive mob. Yeah, that was pretty
Progressive
funny.
mob. Looks like him. Go ahead.
That's his son.
Oh, is his son?
Yeah.
Was James Gandolfini's
Yeah.
son?
It's his actual son. He's
jeez.
playing
I'm like,
that.
yeah, he looks like. Oh, that's why.
That's pretty interesting.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Did the Ice Cube thing?
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Which they did really well, I thought, with that movie. I really liked that movie.
Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah. I thought
That's
that was
pretty
good. Yeah. I got no complaints.
So even though I'm not a huge Sopranos fan, I do like a good gangster movie. The Party is one of my favorite movies of all time. So is Ray Liotta. So is Goodfellas.
Dude, I think if you like that genre, man, there's no reason why you wouldn't enjoy The Sopranos. I mean, maybe it wasn't the right time. Maybe you don't like it, but The Sopranos is like one of the greatest shows like ever.
Yeah. And you know what else I think part of it is, and this happens like if you ever listen to like an artist and they're like really old and they like what they did was really important for the time.
Uh-huh.
But you listen to it now and it's just like, okay. It's
I
like,
know
it's
exactly
okay.
what you mean. I
Yeah.
don't think that's the case with The Sopranos.
Okay.
I think it holds up really well.
Okay. I gotta check it out. I gotta give it another try.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just start with the movie. I think it comes out in like a few days.
Yeah, it's it. It's October 1st. It's Friday. So yeah, I do. The movie looks like a good gangster movie, and it's worth checking out. And oh man, just another red shirt. Have a good dinner. Appreciate
Later,
you being
brother. Enjoy. Say hello to the wife for me.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out. I realize I'm actually genuinely excited about that. And it comes out on HBO Max, so I don't even need to go to the theater.
There you go.
Yeah, Ascension Dodo agrees that The Sopranos holds up.
Okay.
I agree too.
Okay. Give it another shot.
Yeah, and it's a very funny show in a very dark way.
Yeah. I've seen
And
like clips and memes from it, which are pretty funny.
Yeah, it's fucking solid. I want to go back and rewatch it now. I almost put it on last night, but I finished watching Eraser. Ugh, what a chore of the movie that was.
Oh, that's the one from like 95 or 96 with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, it was the end. You know what I mean? You know when there was like that drop off from action movies, it was the end. That was it. I think that was the last even passable action film that he made from the 90s, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
has to be because it was like the Eraser. Then it was like I think he did a couple movies, and there was a gap. It was the End of Days, and then and then by then that's like the 2000s. You had the 2, 3.
I guess you
Terminator 3
had the Sixth Day was in 2000, and I remember
Is that what it
watching
is?
that.
That's at the End of Days, Sixth Day, whatever it is.
No, but End of Days as well. There was that one too.
Oh, those are 2 different movies. Okay.
Yeah, so it goes from the beginning. I mean, it goes. So in the 90s, it goes, you have Terminator 2, obviously. You got Total Recall comes around just before that. Last Action Hero, which was pretty big.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, True
I know it's
Lies.
kinda underrated. True Lies I also like.
Then it was Junior, and then it was Eraser, and Jingle All the Way came out the same year.
I like it, but not everyone's a Jingle All the Way guy. I'm a huge fan of Jingle All the Way.
I mean, I don't even remember it. I mean, I remember, I haven't seen it in a really long time, but I don't know. But then there's Batman and Robin comes out the next year. That's when
He sure
start to see
did do
some
that.
cracks in the armor.
I ironically like that. It's
yeah,
an ironic, hilarious watch, but it's not like competent anymore.
It's fun. Yeah. Oh, you've been erased. Exactly. Which, by the way, they established that he does that he erases people, and they kind of it just sort of kicks off the film. They don't really do it. They don't really bring it back. Yeah, Punk Waddle. No, the railgun was fun, but I'm telling you, go back and watch it. It's so lame. They just they have this evil Russian guy who wants to buy the weapons. Ooh. And it's like no one's motivations make any sense, like why they're stuck in these situations, and everything needs to explode. Like even when they burn down a house, for some reason it explodes 4 times. I'm like, was there C4 hidden in the floorboards? Why is it blowing up? Just burn it down.
Well, because explosions were the 90s version of CG. They didn't have CG to overdo, so they blew shit up.
It's bad. Like I do not recommend going back and watching Eraser. If you have a good memory of Eraser, I recommend just keeping it that way, because it really doesn't hold up. And I've gone back and watched a bunch of these movies from the 90s that I hadn't seen in a while that I didn't remember being amazing, and you're like, oh, that's actually way better than I expected. This is not one of them. So it goes after that. After Batman and Robin, you have End of Days, which actually was pretty good. That had Gabriel Byrne as the devil.
I vaguely remember. Yeah, he was fighting the devil.
Yeah, it was pretty. There were some good, memorable moments from that, and that was pretty good. I'm trying to see the IMDb score. I don't really have 5.8 on IMDb. Maybe not. Maybe it's another one of those movies that if I go back and watch, I'll be like, oh, that actually sucked. So we're getting a pretty steep drop off here. Then after that, it's Collateral Damage, which was bad. That was bad. I remember watching that at the time and thinking it was bad.
I vaguely remember it.
It's terrible. I think he's a firefighter.
Yeah.
And after his family is killed by a terrorist act, a firefighter goes in search of the one responsible. That's the entire synopsis on IMDb. That one sentence.
And Pop Culture Republic Commando, I think it's late 80s. So we're in the 2000s.
Yeah, that's well.
That would have been 89 or 88 or something
that's
like that.
Well before. Yeah, I was just kind of going more in the 90s.
We're going 90s plus. So I think that's 80. I think that's very close, but I think it's 89 or 88.
Yeah, and then after that, it's Terminator 3.
Oof. I mean, it's watchable, but not
Oof, no, not really. I mean, I guess.
It was watchable at the time. I haven't watched it in 20 years, and I don't really, it was no reason to watch it again.
Yeah. Then there's nothing. Then there's Around the World in 80 Days, then The Kid and I, then he comes back as The Expendables. So that was it. And it kind of...
Yeah, the Racer is kind of the beginning of the end for Arnold.
Yeah, it doesn't really ever get good again. It's... Maybe, it doesn't really... He never has, another good film after that.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, T3 was probably the first... Granted, she's a robot, but, strong, indestructible female was the fucking villain from T3. I can remember. She was just indestructible and better. She was better in every way than the old one.
Yeah, I mean, they have to do... That's the model for the Terminator movies because they're fucking stupid and lazy. But, but that was it. I mean, it just kind of... And you could feel it. Watching Eraser, you could feel it. It was forcing everything about what makes a Schwarzenegger movie, right?
Yeah.
he's this marshal and he's super independent and badass, and like he gets invested in this character that he has no reason to be invested in other than he's just a good guy. And it's like, okay, but at what point is being a good guy like putting your own life on the line for someone you've never met, like a total stranger, over and over? And it's like, I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. It just was like they didn't give me a reason to make me believe it.
Well, he's a good guy, therefore he's a hero, and heroes just do hero stuff just because they're heroes. Duh.
Yeah, and then
And
like
they
they get
beat
the
up bad
mob.
guys.
Towards the end, they get the mob involved because like there's an international arms deal going down on their docks, and they're like, "Oh, not on our docks." It's just like, oof. And they did have cool guns. Like they had these rail guns that go the speed of light, or close to it. And then they had like scopes with like you could see through things with it. Like it was like a radar scope.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember leaving the theater and being like, that was fun. Like it was just a fun ride and just like rail guns and explosions. But I think I was 11.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all you need at 11. Especially in the 90s, you blow enough shit up, shoot enough shit. We're happy to see it.
Yeah.
If you can figure a premise that can get you 90 minutes of explosions, 87 minutes of explosions, you can get a movie greenlit in the 90s.
Oh, and sadly, this movie was like 2 hours too. It dragged.
It's too long.
It was too long. It wasn't
Gotta
good.
get in and out.
It was stupid. And it had like good moments, like James Caan was the villain, which was great. Who doesn't love James Caan?
Yeah.
And then he had like what's it called? Like there was this really cool scene where he jumps out of a plane with a parachute, and then like a commercial airliner, and James Caan goes to like the commercial like pilot, and they like circle the plane back out around him as he's like got the parachute, and he has to like ditch the parachute and pull the reserve. It was cool. That was very cool.
Yeah.
So what? That doesn't make a movie. Like it's just a cool moment.
Couple cool scenes. Well, they think they can put a 2-year-old James Bond and we'll go see it. So I'm sure they thought, oh man, we have Arnold Schwarzenegger and a parachute. That's what more these people want.
Do you know that they implied with the new term with Terminator Dark Fate that he was gay?
Jesus. The robot, the non-sentient robot.
Yeah. They implied he was gay. Because it was like, I guess, and I think you have to reach a little bit, but it was something like he hangs curtains or something was just kind of like the implication, you know? He's like an interior
Because he hangs
designer.
What if he just doesn't want sunlight to come into his
No.
room?
Professionally. That was his job. The Terminator assimilated with the real world, by the way. Like he just settled down. The Terminator settled down.
I quit. I didn't know that. I didn't see Dark Fate. All I saw was the bitchy evil Sarah Connor or whatever she is, and know that John Connor died the first 10 minutes. The Terminator if you would have said, okay, he assimilated, he became a personal trainer.
Why?
It's
Why would
like,
he have,
okay.
Why would a Terminator do that? Why would a
He
Terminator
became law
assimilate with
enforcement,
society?
Yeah, that's a good point. Why does he even do that?
He's a killing machine. He's done one thing. He kills. And
Was
then
he programmed to do this?
No, he just decided to do it. And then he decides to help them.
How does that get greenlit? Like, even, okay.
And that's the director of Deadpool, by the way. That's not some incompetent chick who just got the job because she's got the right politics. He made Deadpool.
That's
I know.
I know this is 2 or 3 years late, but it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Dude, thank God for Mauler.
yeah, man.
Because he
Thank
goes
God for
through
this. Yeah, thank
Sorry.
God for him watching these movies. But thank God
watching
for
these
this
terrible movies and then then I get to just experience it instead of having to actually suffer through it.
I can't believe you would. Listen, if you had to make like you said, why make the Terminator assimilate? But if you have to make him assimilate, to make him a professional interior designer,
I mean, like it was
Or-
alluded.
like you're literally trying to be funny. That's what makes you think. This is why we are conspiracy theorists.
Yes.
Because you're taking this uber masculine character, which logically should not even be doing any of this, should have no
No.
human emotions,
None.
should have no sexuality, and technically because he's not human, can have no sexuality. He's an inanimate object. I know we have such a dildo in the chat, but inanimate objects, otherwise, For normal, don't have sexuality. You know what
And
I
I
mean?
don't. I guess his central processing, they say, was a learning machine. But why would he learn to just hang out? Who cares? He's a robot. He learned how to be a better killer. I mean, Sarah Connor points that out. Why would he learn to hang out? Why would that give a robot designed to kill any kind of satisfaction whatsoever? If like he was enlisted in the military or something like that, I could see that, like he's like some fucking Navy SEAL or something like that, like invented like a backstock. Okay, even that's a stretch, but at least it would make sense.
That would make a lot more sense. Or he's involved with the government or something like that.
I mean, legitimately, if he could make up his own mind to do things, why wouldn't he just like be a warlord?
Yeah. How could they stop him? He's too advanced.
He's so out of this time. Like he could, like take over the country if he wanted.
Yeah. Or a country.
They need to bomb him to kill him. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And it's all part of that subverting expectations. And then, but it is just removing your heroes and just humiliating them. Like it is a destruction of Western culture. I don't see any other interpretation.
And Hail the Wake Down showing up late.
Hail the Wake Down. What's up, dude?
Thanks for being here. We're talking about Terminator Dark Fate. I never saw it. I didn't know that the Terminator became an interior decorator. That he was hanging curtains and assimilated as a human. I kind of knew. You know what? I thought I saw him like in the promotional material, like in some house. Like he had retired, looking like he had retired in some sort of way, which I don't know how. But yeah, that's a shock for me.
Hail Thundercats, ho!
Hell,
right on, brother. You have a good night.
Yeah. Well, hey, when we move, it'll be easier for you to catch us. So we appreciate you.
We're moving up. Yeah, noon next week. That is, by the way. Remember that.
Yes, next week. Yes, next week. So yeah, it'll be easier for a lot of our European contingent, which there are quite a few Europeans.
Mm-hmm. Quite a few. Hail.
Yeah, so shout out to all you guys.
Judicon, what's up, dude? Good to see you.
Hail. Hail.
Yeah, but it's just it's so universal. It's clearly part of an agenda. How could they coincidentally do this across? Now I know Hollywood follows trends and they're sort of, like they all kind of just copy each other, but still like these movies aren't successful. It's not like they're, like they don't work. So why would they continue to destroy our characters, destroy our heroes? They did it with Picard. They did it with He-Man. They did it with the Terminator. They do it all the time. It's like none of this makes any sense unless that is completely your goal.
Yeah.
And they could have done other things. Like they could have included him in a way. Like maybe the Terminator, once he realized he wasn't dead, and he's like, why am I not dead? Like, okay, then maybe the future ends up happening. So I'm going to like wait until the future happens. You know what I mean? Until like the whatever, comes down the road, and I will be ready to fight. Like maybe he's got like, like another stash of weapons like they had in Terminator 2. He's just been building a fortress in like Wyoming or something. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah. That would have made way more sense. That's why I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just something in line with the character. Yeah.
Like, that would have made way more sense. Like, all right, he has a fort. He's holding down until whatever year. It's probably 2020. I don't remember what year it was when everything goes haywire in the Terminator verse. But like he's just,
91 is the T2.
Is it 91?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about what year. Like, do the aliens take over? Not aliens. Robots take over.
When does Skynet go
Skynet
active?
Skynet takes over. Yeah.
I think it's in the teens. I think it's in the 20 teens.
Okay.
I think so
too.
He gives the exact date, like what date Skynet takes over. He gives it like, it gives the time.
And Hail Judicon and Wake Down. You said that you will be probably sleep there next week. Watch the playback. Feel free.
August
to watch
29th, 1997.
Oh, 97.
Oh, okay.
2000s.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Skynet begins to learn at a geometric rate. It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. Yeah.
You know what? You're right. He does say that, like T2, doesn't it? Because that's the whole point. It's not that far off.
Yeah.
Even from 91.
Well, it's like I was just thinking, I'm like, as I'm Googling that, I'm like, I get that kind of like nostalgic, like positive feeling about like the lore of the Terminator thing. Like, oh, I can Google this. Like, this is a thing. It's like, and it hit me. It's like look, I wouldn't even care if they stopped making entertaining things. Like if they just stopped, if like the entertainment industry died, there was no more good film and television. Like that would suck, but we'd all figure out other ways to entertain ourselves. It's the fact that they go intentionally to ruin these things.
Yes.
That's what really is bullshit.
Yeah.
And it
they're
clouds.
not gonna stop.
And it clouds what was good. It's like you have to mentally separate out what they did to it to what the actual pure thing is now. And that's going to like fuck it up for future generations.
Yeah, and wait down what you're saying because he sent a dildo saying that. I've said that we got to focus on making content that we enjoy. And yeah, like every time's the first time. I mean, we got tired of how many Tom Hardy characters have LGBTQ references to them just this episode. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
We do act like it's not the first time, it's not the last time.
Not
it's
even
going to keep
close.
happening.
Yeah.
And we do need to start focusing on making content, which is what we're doing. And we talked about the Rippaverse. We keep championing that. We need alternatives. And they will spring up. It takes some time. It takes time. Movies aren't cheap.
No.
We're going to have to start small. We're going to have to start with maybe things that don't have the best production value and I don't see full length stuff.
No.
As far as entertainment.
And who knows like what it'll look like, what it's going to be. I mean, maybe it's just streaming. I don't know. But it's
maybe it is.
But that doesn't make it any less painful that these things are the way they are, you know? And it's like it's tough because it is modern entertainment. Like we were just talking about before you got here, Wait Down, we were talking about probably watching like the Hawkeye show. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it doesn't look too bad. And Vidge is like wants to watch the Spawn movie. You know what I mean? Like, oh, thank you for the subscription. Yo, Fran. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it, brother. But you know what I mean? So it's like it's not that easy to completely separate your emotional attachment to these things.
Yeah, and that's why they do it. That's why they constantly pick these characters, these franchises, and they're going through every bit of the well. Every single bit. The Wonder Years. Like, did you really need to make a version of the Wonder Years where now they're black in the 60s and civil rights movement?
Yeah, what do you
like
think
if you
they're
really
talk about? Yeah.
If you really cared about the Wonder Years, you would just remake the Wonder Years or show a continuation. If you really cared about civil rights, you would just tell an actual story that happened. But you don't really care about either. Nope. You care about pandering and using the franchise that people know and then pandering with agenda. And then if it's not successful, you could just scream, hey, everyone's racist, it's the folks. And it's like, this is a Wendy's. I didn't come here for that. I didn't come here for your agenda and your garbage. And I came here to just see a fucking TV show or a fucking movie be entertaining. That's it.
Yeah, and it's like we talk about all the time. But we had no idea how spoiled we were in the 90s. You know?
No, we didn't. We took it for granted.
We really did. And because we could, like I said, there's no way we could have known, but it still sucks. Wait down. I think I'm the only person who watched the Hawkeye trailer with a critical eye and didn't see much to be concerned about. If it mirrors the feel of the trailer, it might actually be decent. That's what we were saying.
Yeah, that was our thought. And it was shocking to not really see things because they show the main female character not as a Mary Sue, but as somebody who clearly needs mentorship. But Cinch and Dildo with the
wrong.
Red pill.
I agree.
Trailers don't mean shit.
It's true, but it's like that's all I have to go on right now. The showrunner used to be the executive story editor for Mad Men, which is a pretty respected show. So I don't know. We'll see. Look, I'm not going to be the kind of person who will protect it if it sucks. Like, that ain't sucks. Happening. You'll hear me talk about it.
Hey, but you know what? It may be something because I haven't reviewed anything regularly since WandaVision. I was doing WandaVision. I did Mandalorian streams. Maybe I'll go back into reviewing it weekly.
Yeah. I know I'm definitely going to do it when the new season of The Expanse comes out, which is, according to some Indian magazine, I guess, coming out in December, which seems quick, but we'll see. I don't know. Yeah. All right, you want to wrap it up, my friend?
Yeah. We didn't really expand on Dave Chappelle's special.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I guess there's we can cover that real quick.
Real quick.
I mean, it's not really anything. I just want to talk about it with you, but he's got a new special coming out.
Yeah, when is it coming out?
Netflix just released a teaser for it earlier. I saw that. So let me see. I don't know if I want to watch another. It's not even really anything. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's basically just saying Chappelle's got a new special coming out. But
Okay.
let's see.
I wonder, he's been the only comedian of note in the mainstream sphere that's been like doing big things. There's a lot of YouTube comedians and Instagram comedians that aren't even in the culture war that are good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like if you're talking about stand up, and it's that's a weird technological thing that there's a new brand of comedian outside of stand up.
That's
Like
true.
there's an internet comedian, and that's
Yeah.
his own medium. But for stand up, like there's no one of note in the mainstream outside Dave Chappelle, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned,
Yeah,
yeah, it's Kevin Hart, but like he doesn't even do stuff anymore.
But he's not like.
He's not on the same
look
level.
I don't look to Kevin Hart for insight.
Not for insight, but he had a time where he was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying. I never thought he wasn't funny. I just thought.
But no, he wasn't as poignant as Dave Chappelle is.
Yeah.
Has ever
So
been.
anyway, it comes out on the 5th, October 5th, the new Chappelle special.
Cool.
So that's coming up. So we'll see. Rusty Dragon is saying Nerdrotic bit into that trailer pretty hard. I don't know which one he's talking about. Are you talking about the Chappelle or Hawkeye? Okay.
Hawkeye, I believe.
We'll see. I thought Sticks and Stones was genius.
Yeah.
Chappelle's last special. I thought he handled the way he could talk about all those things like so brilliantly to get his point across, but also like acknowledge other people's points of view. It's pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
But,
This would be his first one post Coof, won't it?
Yeah, he did do the one. He did like that short one, 8 minutes or what? Like he did like a little commentary over the summer about the George Floyd thing, which was really him just sounding off. It really wasn't stand up.
I think I do vaguely remember that, but yeah, so this will be his first thing post Coof. We'll see how that goes. I'm interested in seeing it. Like I said, Dave Chappelle's he's one of the few comedians, if not the only comedian, that has any weight to what he says. So I'll see what he says.
Yeah, and he seems untethered. Like he really says what he believes. I don't agree with him all the time, but at least I know it's coming from a real place.
Yeah, and that's more than you can say with a lot of stuff. Because I don't think any of this stuff is genuine. I think we kind of beat that dead horse throughout all the stories we covered today. That there's no genuine nature to any of this. It's all agenda driven. It's all like it's never about entertaining people or even informing people. You know what I mean? You guys don't. That's why I said what I said about the Wonder Years. You don't really care about informing people on civil rights history. You care about rewriting civil rights history
and virtue signaling.
Yeah. Look how great we are.
Ascension Dildo doesn't agree with everything with anyone.
Yeah, nor should you.
Except for us.
Obviously
yes,
it does.
But anyone else. All right,
no,
let's wrap it up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. I was just saying you shouldn't. You should never agree with anyone all the time.
No, you shouldn't. All right, yeah, so this was Culture Crime Fighters episode. What was this
32.
32.
Right
on. This was fun. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for the new subscription, Yofran, and everyone who was hanging out with us. Rusty Dragon, Punk Waddle, the Wake Down, Hale, Sentient Dildo, Red Shirt, Judicon, Thundercats Ho, Brightest Day, Islington Girl, all the regulars. Love you guys, and make sure next week, noon.
Next week, noon Central, 1 p.m.
Central.
Eastern.
Eastern.
So yeah, thank you all. Like it's cool to hear those same names week after week after week, show after show. You guys are the best. Please move with us. Sorry again for inconvenience, everyone, but thank you all for all your support. We wouldn't be here without your support.
Fucking A.
So
and also don't forget and Cocktail Lounge on Friday.
Yes, Cocktail Lounge is still Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right, y'all. See you next week.
All right. Peace.